I built the skill of what a viral video looks like.
Is there a recipe?
I'm gonna make myself look American. Certain sounds provoke feeling.
Your TikTok at a stage touched 8 million and your YouTube growth was so quick.
Like, never look at other people and determine your worth. Consistency is everything. When the next app arrives, the first question you need to ask yourself is,
I'm excited today to welcome John-Marc van Wyk to the podcast. John-Marc is a South African content creator with over 7 million followers on TikTok, over 1 million on YouTube, and I think you're nearly at 250 million likes on TikTok, which is absolutely mind-boggling to me. You've definitely broken the code of, I think, creating short format content in the modern age of social media. So I'm very excited to kind of learn a little bit more about that sort of process, but I don't want to define you just by social media metrics. So John-Marc, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me.
yeah, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for that introduction. I didn't even know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've had to do a bit of research on the stats, so hopefully I've got a few more lined up, so I'll just drop them in bit by bit. But I think you're a lot more than just on your sort of social media persona, so to speak, so I don't want to define you just by those sort of stats. How would you describe yourself kind of outside of social media?
Outside of social media, that's a tough one now. I'm very outgoing. I love doing things. I've already gone out of that party stage that I was in for a little bit. Luckily, it was only a year, but I love doing anything like golf, running, anything sporty wise. I love gymming. So I'm very outgoing. I'm not necessarily like sitting at my computer editing. If someone could do my job better than me, I would let them do that. But it's so hard to find people that actually have a passion and have the same goals as you, and then passionate about how to edit like you. So to me, that's what keeps me at home and keeps me working and going over the same content and things like that, and not willing to give someone else that opportunity, which I have tried, but it's failed quite a few times. So I just keep on doing it. But outside of my whole social life, I just love going out, meeting up with friends, going to restaurants, trying new things, going on adventures. I love anything really.
And I think from what I've seen, at least, so much of that is also reflected across your social media platforms and stuff. So you're not hiding kind of all the adventures and stuff that you're going on, and it's kind of awesome to see. But I can definitely tell that video making is something that's very core to kind of what you do and what you enjoy doing, at least. Where did that kind of get started for you? How did you kind of get started in the world of content creation and making videos? Where did that happen? Well,
it actually started at quite a young age. We had a friend moving. My mom's friend was moving overseas, and she had a smart TV, and I was like, "Listen, Mom, we have those fat big box TVs, And I was like, maybe we can organize one of these TVs because she's just keeping it in a storage room. So can we maybe see if we can ask her, we can use it and borrow it for a while. So my mom asked her, and she said, yeah, sure, you can use the TV. And then when we got the TV, that was kind of one of the first times I really got to see YouTube, because I didn't really have a phone at that age, or a computer or anything. I had to borrow my dad's computer if he's not on it, and he worked all the time. So you don't really get a lot of computer time. But then I was able to watch YouTube on the smart TV because YouTube was connected. I was like, what? And then when I started watching these videos, I started watching lots of Vines on YouTube. So this was when I was around 12 years old. I think Vine was still one of the big things. I'm going to mess up the time date, but 2014, 2013. And then I just watched these guys like Jake Paul, Logan Paul, and all these big Viners. And I was like, that stuff is so funny. I can do that. And they're getting all these millions of views and all these followers. That sounds cool. And that's something that maybe I can do as well. And yeah, so that's how I kind of got into it. I just was so passionate that I could do what they do, and I could do it funnier, that I was like, give me a camera, let me try and record a few things. The first video that I could find of you anywhere on the internet, correct me if I'm wrong here, I think was a video from back in 2016 that you posted on YouTube. Wow. Was that kind of the official sort of start, or was there... I know you're obviously quite young at that point, and like you said, just messing around with the camera, trying to emulate the
the Jake Pauls, Logan Pauls? Was that kind of the origin of everything, or is there something that's hidden in the archives, a school project that no one's aware of? When was the first like video that you can remember actually making yourself?
Wow. The first video I can actually remember, the first one I ever recorded was on a BlackBerry.
Classic BlackBerry. Haven't heard that word in a while.
Yeah, and me and my friends were inside our bedroom. We were busy playing, and we were listening to Shakira. And then we thought of a funny skit. We were like, what if like the two of us are dancing, and then the one of us like gets upset and then throws like a soccer ball at the one's face, and the other one gets upset and throws it back at him, and then we get into a fight, and then it just like cuts to us fighting, and then it like just ends. And I was like, that sounds brilliant. We like should be in Hollywood right now. And so then we ended up filming that, and it looked terrible, but I thought it was hilarious. So that's kind of like the first video I kind of made. I was probably like 12 at that age. So it was like a year before I touched YouTube, because I did start on Vine. So I kind of went on making lots of Vines. I don't know if you can find those, but like I made quite a bit of Vines, just like copying and like having my own spin on like other Vines I have seen. But then Vine got taken down. All the videos kind of got taken down with them. I find like one or two everywhere. Now and then I'll run into an old Vine that somehow someone uploaded. But, yeah.
Somehow hidden in the archives. You got no idea where people are finding.
I don't remember filming this, but it's
somewhere.
like I filmed this my face.
Kind of worried about what's going to come out in 10, 15 years from now that people are going to find somehow, and you're like, oh my goodness, how did that end up getting made?
Yeah.
So obviously when Vine sort of disappeared, and then I know you were starting to post on YouTube and exploring and learning as a creator and developing those sort of skills. When TikTok sort of came along, or I'm assuming it might, I'm curious as to when you actually started. Was it still Musical.ly at that time, or did you go straight into when it was rebranded as TikTok?
So I was determined that this is my call on my life to do social media, and like I couldn't handle school. Don't even start with me, but like school is not my forte. Like I don't even know the right word for that, but I couldn't understand it. Like my parents would sit me down, like we learned English. I was homeschooled as a kid, and we like go through English, social studies. I was like, why must I know 5 different verbs and like verb, pronoun, all these things? How is that going to make me money? And like, how is that going to educate me on anything? Like I'll just go to my computer and or do half the things that they're telling me to learn. So like my brain couldn't concept school. So like the only thing I was like, if school's not going to work out for me, that means I can't study because I'm not going to be passionate about it. Social media has to work. So I had this kind of drive in me, like this is going to work and this will work, and I'm going to push and push and push and push until it works. So I'm happy I had that at such a young age, because if I had it at a late age, I probably wouldn't be where I am today. So I kind of had this like social media needs to work. So I was doing everything that there is. So I was on Vine, I was on Musical.ly, I was on TikTok, not TikTok, Musical.ly. I was on Musical.ly at the time. I was on YouTube. I was on any platform that you could be on, and I was making videos and trying out different things the whole time. I was even on this other app called Likey. I think it's Likey now. It was called Like, and then also like some Korean app, but that's a story for another time. But yeah, I was on everything. And I just kept pushing. I was like, something will take off eventually. And I kind of went on to YouTube. I kind of put more effort onto that than everything else. Because also, when I got into it, we are at the time where you can only be famous and get famous if you are famous. So it was like, there was not such a thing as anyone could be famous. It's not that if you made good content, you'll blow up. It was like only people that were famous already could make whatever they put will just go viral, and that's what gets shared. Like doesn't matter how funny your video is, it wouldn't necessarily blow up. It was that kind of stage of social media. So it was Musical.ly. Like I tried posting on Musical.ly and videos just won't blow up because you weren't famous. You wouldn't be able to get onto those scales because you're too late to the game, you know? Like they choose the top creators in the beginning, suss it out, and then they make those guys the stars of the app, and people must come and join the app, but they're not going to be famous themselves.
That's in my opinion, some amazing foresight to have as I'm assuming a very sort of early teenager sort of years, to understand that, okay, cool, social media is a potential career path that you can actually pursue, because back in 2014 to 2016, there were only a handful of creators that had actually managed to pursue it as a career. I think a lot of people had other things where they were, famous in other arenas and had made careers there, and then brought that onto social media platforms as an extra sort of add-on. But to make that exclusively your sort of career path is such a brave decision to have pursued from that age. So was it just being inspired by the other creators at that point in time, or how did you kind of know that that was something that you could actually make work?
I was very inspired by the other creators. I can only think of Jake Paul and Logan Paul right now, but there was many other ones. But that really inspired me, because I was like, these videos are so simple. That means anyone can create them and they get these kind of views. So I was like, that inspired me. I was like, I can do this eventually. Like, something's going to click and the numbers will roll in. And like, I just need to trust and be consistent and trying to figure this out, because like my whole life depended on it, if you know what I mean. Because I was like, I can't study, I can't get a 9 to 5. Like, I'll freak out if I have to do a 9 to 5. I need this creator industry to work out for me. So like, I think it was like a fear factor that kind of also pushed me, in knowing that my parents are going to try and force something down my throat. Like, they want the best for me, so they're like, you must study or do something like that. So I was scared of that happening if this didn't work out.
And is it something that your family's been supportive through, or was it kind of you had to prove it first before they kind of accepted that, okay, cool, this is a path that can really work for you?
It was kind of like both. So they were kind of like, do whatever you want. Like, we see you love it. It started off, my dad bought me my first iPhone 5. The only thing, like, lots of the stuff I bought myself. Like, I worked up the money, paid for all my equipment and things like that. But he blessed me with the iPhone 5 because he saw that I had a passion for filming. And then he said, if I give you this, and you need to film videos for me as well, for my dad's a missionary. So it's like for the ministry, and when we go on travels and like go to Zimbabwe and things like that, I'd love you to record and things like that. So I was like, awesome, that's a good deal. So I took the iPhone 5. And then that's how I made all my videos. Most of them was on an iPhone 5. And then my parents, like, my mom isn't really clued up on the whole social media thing. So like, she didn't really know what was happening. She just knew I made videos. My dad was more clued up. So I would tell him if things are happening, but I always told them when things were happening, like, I got a video that got like 200 views, and like, I got like 50 followers and things like that. And then they were kind of like, whatever. Like, they didn't really care, because I was also at a young age. Like, I had to do school, so do whatever you want in your free time. And then when I started getting older and closer to the age of 18, I still didn't take off yet. I was around like 16, 17. And I was like, these things have to work. And then my parents just started putting pressure, like, you need to find something else. Like, you need to solve this. And I was like, no, but like, I'm getting the followers now. So I told myself, when I'm going to jump now to the future, when TikTok started being a thing, I told myself I'm only going to tell my parents once I hit like 50K, because like, I need to prove to them that there's something here, So that's kind of like the route I did. So they were very like against it in the beginning, because there was no fruit from it. So they were kind of like, come on, you have to do something. And then, but when they figured out that there is money in it for me, and there is a life in it, and something I enjoy, then they were kind of like pro it. And like, they did help me a lot in just being there for me, and also just being a loving family, So yeah.
Okay, no, that's absolutely incredible. And I think it's maybe easy as sort of an outsider, especially now, to kind of look at your account or accounts and say, wow, that happened so quickly. That was instantaneous. How did you, I know your TikTok at a stage touched 8 million, and your YouTube growth was so quick. It can look almost like an overnight success, so to speak, but I'm sure it's not, but I'm going to let you fill in the picture there. Walk me through sort of how was that, I'm going to say, journey to 8 million, so to speak? How did that sort of happen sequentially? Was it a very consistent sort of ride? Were there bumps and stuff in the way? How did you sort of see everything growing, and what were the pivotal moments that you think kind of catalyzed everything?
That's a good question. So as I had that drive inside of me, like something had to work. And it was actually quite a funny story how like everything, like it's like everything changed for me. Like it was kind of like an overnight click, but not overnight click, definitely not. But the one time when TikTok became TikTok and people were starting to upload anything and it would go viral, the videos that went on TikTok would go onto Instagram. And I was very curious at the time because I was like, they're good videos. They were like funny. They'll blow up on Instagram as well. And then I started reacting to them on YouTube. I kind of like deleted Musically at the time. And I was like, this app is so stupid because like, doesn't matter what you do, you won't get a viral video and you won't gain followers. So I was like, screw this app. And then my sister was like, you must check out TikTok. It's like so cool. And I was like, it's just Musically. Like, I'm not interested in like doing that again. And so my sister was raving about it, but I just left it. And then I started reacting to these TikToks that I didn't know were TikToks, but on Instagram. So it's like they're blowing up. They're getting millions and millions of views on Instagram. I've never seen these kind of videos get so many views on Instagram. So I was like, let me react to them. And then I reacted to them on my YouTube channel. And then they blew up on my YouTube channel. I think it was like, I had one video ever hit 20,000 views, and it was like how to make a fidget spinner fly. And then I didn't have a single video go viral on my channel. That I averaged like 50 to 200 views on a video on my YouTube. And then I reacted to these videos, and they went up to like 40K views. And I was like, what the heck? This is insane. I was like, I'm famous right now. So then I was like super excited, and I kept reacting to it. And then the people that created the TikTok that blew up that I was reacting to were commenting on my videos. They're like, oh, no ways that someone is reacting to us and this is so cool. Hit us up on DM on TikTok so we can reply. I was like, I'm more Instagram guy. I don't really do TikTok. And they're like, we don't do Instagram, so could you DM us on TikTok? So I was like, fine, I'll do that. I'm more Instagram, but okay. So I downloaded the app so I can just DM them. It was just normal conversation, nothing crazy. And then the next thing I was like, started scrolling on TikTok, like, what's all this? I was like, oh wow, these are some videos that are going up. They're not Musicallys, they are funny videos. They just general content, like someone recorded on their iPhone and it has like 7 million views. I was like, what is this? How are people creating such silly content? Like it'll be like their cat running, like it was something silly, you know, and it'll get like millions of views. I was like, I can easily make this content. And then what I did is I dove into like, I need to understand this app. I need to understand how it's working. Like this is my way into the industry, because I also told myself when the next app arrives that you don't have to be famous to be famous, and they're willing to just like be the early bird. I knew if I can be an early bird to a new app, then I knew that that's my way in. So I was like, okay, I got this. So like I started starting the app, I started uploading. I was on my old account that had like 7,000 followers, all ghost. I also used to do those things where you follow, unfollow. Got to get those followers somehow. And so I managed to get like 7,000 ghost followers on Musically. So when I went back onto TikTok, I obviously logged in with my Musically account. And then I started studying the app. I upload videos and nothing would go viral. Nothing would even get like 5 views. I was like, this is ridiculous. So I started doing research. I found out that TikTok wasn't allowing Musically creators to perform well. They were allowing TikTok creators to perform well. So if you had a Musically account, they wouldn't push your video.
Is that where John-Marc van Wyk 3 comes from? Always wondered why there's a random 3 at the end of all your social media channels. Is that the reason for it, or is there another?
That is the reason for it. So I made 5 different accounts. So I just labeled them John-Marc 1, John-Marc 2, John-Marc 3, John-Marc 4, John-Marc 5. And then I made like 4 or 5 different accounts. And I was like, okay, I'm going to make 4 different genres of content, and one of them is going to blow up. And I know that. So I made these different accounts. One was like lip syncing. One was, number 3 was comedy. Number 4 was like dancing or something. I don't even know. And then like number 5 was like a repost of all of them to see like which one would blow up. So I just like took all the genres and put it on one account. And then I think I went up to 4. I don't know if I went up to 5. But anyways, so I made all these accounts. I was like, okay, something's going to work. And I started pushing all of them. I mostly pushed comedy because obviously I preferred that. And then I uploaded the one video, and I think I did some trend that I saw, and I just like kind of did a remix of some other guy that I saw do the trend and put my own spin on it. I uploaded it, and then like I came back like an hour later, and my video was sitting at I think 2,000 views, and I was like, whoa,
It's working.
it's working, I'm famous, 2,000 views, because I've never received those kind of views in such a short period of time. Like all my videos that blew up on Instagram, I didn't have any video blow up on Instagram. All the videos that blew up on YouTube, it would take maybe 2 to 3 weeks to get 2,000 views. And then that's, wow. So when that happened in like under a few hours, I was like, I'm in. And so number 3 took off, John-Marc van Beek 3 took off. The other ones I kind of like died out when I saw number 3 going. So I was like making the next video and making the next video, making the next video. And then I started seeing this traction, followers coming in and numbers going up. And then I got a video that hit like 40,000. And then I had started live streaming. And then I had like a famous guy that was sitting at like, I think maybe 180,000 followers. And he commented and I was like, well,
I'm in the inner circle.
I'm in the inner circle. These guys are commenting on my live streams. I'll be like, it'll be so sick if you followed me. I was also in that kid stage where I was like, I just need people to follow me. And then he was like, yeah, sure, dude, I'll follow you. Pretty cool. I love your videos. I was like, what? This guy like makes really good videos and he wants to follow me. And then that's kind of the route I went with all my social media. And then it kind of like took off where TikTok kind of like started pushing that deeper and things like that.
That's amazing. And I think I was actually my mind was boggled when I went and looked how many videos you've actually made. Do you want to hazard a guess how many TikTok videos you're currently at?
Yo, maybe 2,000.
You're very, very, very near to 2,000 videos actually posted on your account live now, which for me is just, and I don't think anyone quite understands the level of work and consistency that it takes to put out that volume. I think they might only see the couple of videos that have got 50 million views, 20 million views, which you've got plenty of, and I'm amazed by how on earth you've unlocked that little formula. But there's so many videos that you've actually put out, and that sheer volume and consistency, is that something that you think has been key to how you've kind of continued to grow, like pushing through in harder times, or is it just about finding that secret recipe and then just doing that stuff? How important do you think consistency is to your success?
Yo, consistency is everything. Like I literally had, my siblings they were not supportive. My parents were definitely way more supportive than my siblings. I would make videos every single day. Sometimes I was averaging at least 2 to 7 videos a day, because I was like, 7. I was like, something needs to work. Like I will figure out the formula for this. And so I just kept making and creating. And I would always see, these are like the worst things. Like never look at other people and determine your worth. Because I would see these people make 2 TikToks and get 1 million subscribers, and they'll just make 2 videos, and then my siblings would be like, "You're wasting your time making all these TikToks. You like should definitely just make good ones, and they'll blow up. You don't have to spend so much time." I was like, I'm trying to do that. I'm not trying to make junk and upload junk, but it was like the consistency that made me understand how to make these videos and what will work and what didn't work. Because making a viral video, those guys just made 1 viral video and that's all they could produce, so it wasn't sustainable. What I did was I built the skill of what a viral video looks like and how I can duplicate that multiple times.
What does a good viral video look like for you?
In the terms of views, or like what does it contain?
The elements that it takes to produce something that's going to get mass sort of attention.
Yeah, that's a tough
Is there
one.
a recipe, or is there a recipe specific to you? What have you found? Like, what's your sort of secret sauce?
Is definitely a recipe to making a video go viral. It's kind of tough because like it's a hard choice to make something you're proud of and you enjoy and the creativity of it. And I know this is going to go viral and get me views and followers, but it's not necessarily I'm going to enjoy the process. So it's like determining that's what also made me drop down my followers, because I've been experimenting more with what do I enjoy than necessarily numbers. Just getting that. So for me, if I want to get a viral video, it's very simple. Find out what's trending. How can I take that trend, make it into a series? How can I do it multiple times? And how can I build an audience off of it? How can I get people to also be a little bit controversial, where they were be chats, where it can be like, why are you doing this? And then like, this is hilarious. And so they can fight among themselves in the comments on like, is it good? Is it funny? Is it like racial? Is it political, or things like that? where it isn't that, but you make the audience think that it could be something like that, and then they fight among themselves, which make the comments do well.
You kind of have to play a delicate balance of being an evil wizard puppet master versus actually making something, like you said, that you actually sort of enjoy.
Exactly.
What kind of content for you is enriching and enjoyable, and I'm going to say challenges you as a creative to kind of continue with that process? What for you is like kind of the most rewarding content pieces that you've made, regardless of performance?
Sure. Lots of them were like storytelling. I didn't even know I was doing it, but it was like basically telling a story in something I thought was funny and something that I thought people could connect to. So lots of the videos I'm actually proud of creating weren't the ones that did well. And I knew they had potential, but it was also like at the time TikTok was choosing it. Everybody, like, people can go into depth with me as much as possible, but like I studied the app. People said like if a video has good retention and people will share it and comment, it will do well. I was like, yes, but there is people that were controlling what goes viral and what doesn't. So I would make a video that is viral worthy, upload it, and they wouldn't push it. So I knew that for a fact. Like, this is a good video. This video will do well. They're just not pushing my account at the moment.
Have you ever taken videos like that and I'm going to say reposted them at different times with different outcomes?
Yeah, that's also how I came up with my theories.
What kind of level of discrepancy have you managed to find?
Hectic. So like I would upload a video that I'm proud of making and it would get 200 views, like hectic 200 views. And I would be, no, this video is going to do well. I'll repost it a week later, like 100 views. I'll post it a week later, it's like 10,000 views. And I'll post it like 4 months later when I see a lot of other videos are doing well. I'll post it and it goes 26 million views. I was like, yeah, I told you.
Okay, so the discrepancy level is absolutely enormous, which makes us look up at the algorithm geniuses and scratch our heads occasionally. But I think that's why maybe, at least in my perspective, the consistency and having a drive behind creating is so important as well. Because if you're constantly going to look at the view metrics, it's just going to be a frustration of this deserved to go viral, this didn't, this didn't deserve to go viral, this did.
Yeah.
Okay, what on earth is going on here? Is this me or is this some other kind of genie going on? So I think that drive behind creating content is so important. I'm assuming it's the same for you. What kind of, for you, is the driving force behind that keeps you going, especially if you're not getting the engagement that you want or feel that content deserves? What kind of is that light that keeps that hunger alive?
Yeah, that is a tough question because I dealt with that a lot, because like views change and they fluctuate and the algorithm changes as well and what people are interested in. So like when you think you just got it, like it will dip and it'll change. Like they're not interested in those videos anymore. And so you have to constantly mature in your comedy. And that is a strain because you constantly have to adapt and you constantly have to keep up to date. So you probably know it, like it is a full-time job to be a content creator because it's always changing and people don't find funny what was funny last year. So keeping up to that is stressful. So what keeps me going and what keeps me going is like finding my passion. Like I know like I am passionate about content creating. I'm passionate about changing the lives of people that are watching it. I want to impact those lives and change them and give someone a smile that is probably going through a tough time, a tough day, whatever they're going through. I want to be able to bring some joy and light to their day. And I'm passionate about art. I'm passionate about storytelling. So it's like that will always keep me going. As long as there's a story to tell and an art way of doing it, I'm going to do it. And I think the progression in that also just motivates me because I will always find a way to keep it running and keep it going because it is something that, like, deep down I will always be passionate about storytelling. I don't think it's something that will ever leave me. So that normally keeps me going. And what keeps me like firm, I think, is also, told you my dad's a missionary, so I was brought up in a Christian home. So like my relationship with God does play a massive factor into my industry and just leaning on him during those tough times because it's so easy to see other creators and just be like, wow, my video's doing well as them and you just like go into this whole rut in your head like, why can't I be like them, or why aren't my videos doing well as them? And that's the time where I also find comfort in God. It's like, I don't have to be like everyone else. Like God has designed me and he's created me to be unique and to be a blessing to others. So I want to seek that out. And how can I do that? That's the same with the videos. Like, I made 2,000 videos, and everyone I know has probably not even made 500 that has way more followers than me.
I think 500 for people is a beyond a stretch as well. So
yeah. So I was like, I was doing what I felt that I needed to do, and like, I felt that that's what God's also putting on me. I'm unique, and I just need to be who I am. I don't have to try and implement what this guy's doing and that. But it is a good time to learn and to take on what they're doing. And then how can I learn from them? How can I learn from their videos and what they're doing? How can I implement similar strategies to make my videos do well again? So keeping that cool mind and knowing that I can lean on my Father, my Heavenly Father, for anything. I think that gives me a peace of mind that keeps me also going, because I would have definitely given up if I didn't have a relationship with my Heavenly Father.
Okay. No, and I think what you touched on as well is you've definitely impacted people's lives significantly. I think far beyond what you can possibly even sort of comprehend. I did a rough, one of my other little calculations. I was looking at how many views have you actually sort of received, and it's bordering quite on passing 1 billion. I think it might be a little bit a nudge over that. And just because the metric sounded nice, I looked, okay, cool. If people spend 30, 32 seconds odd watching and engaging with your content across 1 billion different views, that is 1,000 straight years of people consuming the videos that you've made. 1,000 straight years, not sleeping time, just 1,000 straight numerical sort of years. So
that's crazy.
It's absolutely staggering how much time people have actually spent engaging with everything that you've created. And I think, how do you feel about sort of everyone's lives that you have impacted, and like you said, trying to bring joy and everything to what they're doing and making their days better? I think how much interaction do you actually have with your sort of community? I think especially as a creator that's in the online sort of space, sometimes you don't necessarily see the people in front of you. It's not like you're a musician and with a stage of 50,000 people. You're similar, but you're impacting millions and millions, but you don't necessarily see them. How do you kind of maintain that sort of feeling with them and understanding them as people as well?
That's a really good question. I find it quite tough recently to do that. It's not as easy as TikTok was back in the day in like 2020 to 21. I found that like there was something special about those years, the way we connected with our audience, but the way time has adapted and the way they're trying to progress in the app and things like that, you kind of got pushed away from that oneness with your audience and your followers. And I picked up on that pretty late, which I shouldn't have. I'm pretty upset with myself for picking up on that pretty late. But I noticed how when you upload a video, your followers don't see it. If you like someone, don't follow them. Like, that's what the new algorithm was at the time. It was like, if you like someone, just like their video, and you'll see it again. But if you follow them, then you're probably not going to see their videos as much. And when you upload a video, with the strategy that to get a viral videos, you don't target your audience. You have to target the For You page. So it's like, you don't even get your audience to see the videos. So it's like you start feeling this, you're losing this connection with your audience that you built. And that I was really upset with, because when TikTok took a turn, I was like, I just don't have contact with any of my followers. I have this massive number of like 7 or 8 million followers, and it doesn't mean anything at the end of the day because they don't have contact with me unless they're on like YouTube. So I started like, how can I change this? And that's when I started putting more effort now into my YouTube and more effort into my Instagram, because I noticed you can be more connected to your followers there. There's this new Instagram thing where you can have like your own chats.
I've seen Tatiana's chat, I believe. Walk me through that. What is that?
I just did this thing with my friends, my brother, like whenever he would like complain about something or get angry about me doing something, I'd either call him like Tatiana or Kid Cudi. I'd be like, relax Kid Cudi, or like, relax Tatiana, like just bust it down, okay? And then I just said that out of nowhere, and then he started laughing about it, and then it like came up when my friends would like complaining about something or like overreacting. Then I would just be like, listen Tatiana, just listen, okay? And then whatever the conversation would go into. And then my friends started finding that really funny that I called everyone Tatiana. And then I was like, needed a group chat name, because everyone has like the Low Gangsters and the Jake Paulers. I was like, I wasn't really wanted to like have like that kind of vibe. So I was like, what is just something funny, quick? Because I just needed to make one of these chats. I just saw it. So I was like, let me just implement it. So I was like, the Tatianas, because I call everyone Tatiana. So I might as well just call my chat that. So I kind of just labeled my chat Tatianas, and my followers thought it was hilarious. So I just kept with it.
Love it. Love it. And in terms of your actual sort of content creation process, that's the thing I think personally I'm the most interested in. How do you sort of go about ideating your content, creating it, producing it? Is it just a spur of the moment thing that you pick up your phone and do something, or what is there a sort of grand plan behind everything? How do you go about that? What's your creative process?
It depends on the platform. It depends if it's YouTube or Instagram. So there's two different stories. So which one are you more interested in?
YouTube, I think, is the home of any sort of creator's sort of dream. I think
Yeah.
everyone sort of loves that, specifically sort of around there, and maybe across TikTok and stuff as well.
So for YouTube, I normally just like get an idea, comes to me something, because I study, I'm a part of like so many groups and I do so many courses and things. Like I'm always trying to up my game. And so I'm always learning on how to make good thumbnails, how to title things correctly, how to improve on my filming, my editing, my storytelling, the music. I love music now, like finding out how to make certain sounds provoke feeling while you're watching videos. So I've been like messing around with that a lot recently. And so what I do now to come up with the idea is that I would kind of, my new channel I'm making is called John-Marc Storytelling. I had to make a new channel. My main one got demonetized. That's a whole story on itself. But I was like, I need to adapt. I need to make a new account. So I made a new account called John-Marc Storytelling. And I want to focus more on stories, because I'm passionate about storytelling, and I'm passionate about, like, I love how Yes Theory does their storytelling, and all these other creators that also just slip my mind now that I'm talking about this. But I was just passionate about how they can tell stories, and it feels like you're part of a family and that you're learning something in the process. So I was like, I'm going to do that. So then I just had like ideas come to me in time of like sitting down with a notebook and just writing ideas. Like can't sleep at night, then an idea hits my head, write out like a script, and everything would just come to me, like a whole entire story would just flow, and I'll just like write and write and write and write. And while I'm writing, weirdly enough, I spoke to other creators and it doesn't happen to them. So I thought it was everyone. But when I get an idea, I'll have a monologue of what's happening constantly through the video. And then while the monologue is happening and the dialogue and all those things, the camera shots are coming in as well. So it's like you need to do a shot of like a pull in of you talking, and then a pull out, and then while you're saying the specific line. And then when you're speaking about this, get the shot of a car doing this and get the shot of this. So while I'm writing the dialogue for my videos, I'm also writing the shot. So it's like, okay, then this happens. All right. Okay, that'll be a 6 shot if a car's coming by and zips past, and then it cuts to black, and then a music fades in to the next shot. So that's like all happening inside my brain while I'm creating. So yeah, it's kind of how I go about my ideas.
It's amazing for me there, because what you're explaining to me sounds exactly like the sort of cinematographer's process that they go about when creating, you know, grand narrative stories and stuff. But what we sort of creating as creators, I'm using the we very loosely here, is very, very short format stuff. But I think it took me a while to understand, and what I think is so remarkable, is that within each of those tiny 20-second videos, 30-second videos, there's a whole narrative arc that goes into that, and it's not just putting it out for the sake of it. You really have to take people through a whole sort of cycle in that, and it's such an important sort of part of the process. And I mean, you're describing like a full-on sort of, you know, push-ins, push-outs and stuff, but like I think you told me earlier, you're filming everything sort of on an iPhone.
Yeah.
Is that something that you think is restrictive for you, or do you think that's a massive advantage to have because of the ease and the speed that you can get everything done?
I think it's both. Obviously, I watch all my favorite creators, Gox Art being one of them, and obviously seeing the camera equipment he works with, and just like, I want that, give me that. I want to do the same things as he does. Or I watch another YouTuber and I'll be like, I want those kind of camera equipment so I can make my videos like that. But then I was like, I just don't have I don't have money to spend like that. So let me just use what I have. So I get the shots, and is making me adapt better and making me, I think, understanding lighting faster and understanding angles better, because I can't rely on a camera just making it look good. I have to rely on, okay, I got the iPhone. Okay, how can I make this look good? Because if I put a cinematic camera, it just looks good naturally, no matter the shot. Like, obviously, that does play a role, but most of the time, it just looks good the way the camera has its filters and the way everything about it. But an iPhone, it just looks like raw. It's too raw. And I think it makes me work harder, but also makes me also work a little bit easier because I can adapt very quickly. So it does play a role, but I would love to mess around with cameras. I would love to mess around with like even these cameras, but I think it does give me more freedom knowing that I can just pull out my phone and tell a story, which I do. That's how I got invited to an event the other day with Ford. My friend invited me. They were going to do some Ford events, testing out cars, like we're doing crazy things like drunk driving. Like they put goggles on us and we had to drunk and drive. Did 4x4ing and like some track spinning and things like that. And it was such short notice for the track day, and I just like, and I had a bunch of other projects I was working on, so I was like, how can I tell a story very quickly, like a short form story? And I just pulled out my phone, came up with like some dialogue, came up with a few ideas, and then I was like, I just need to film this, and I just pulled out my iPhone, recorded. I was like, I don't know, I just see this shot and I see this shot. Can you record this, record that, record this? And then I record all those shots, throw it into editing, and it just kind of pieces together. It's kind of like supernatural sometimes. I was like, how on earth did I tell a story with those shots? Like, I'll be like, I didn't get the shot I want. How can I? And my brain just like adapts. And I also think this just also my father as well, Heavenly Father, is like, he just gives me like, what about this? I was like, whoa, that's a good idea. And like the shot that I didn't like, I needed to finish the story, I'll just somehow get another shot that can tell the same story, or the narrative will change and the story changes, but it's better now. So I think it does help me adapt.
One of the things that I think a lot of creators sort of deal with is when they've kind of worked really, really hard to develop their storytelling prowess, so to speak, and their skills in that regard, is then eventually getting to a stage where they want to start outsourcing certain parts of that. And I think the first thing, at least in my perspective, that comes to mind is the editing of everything, because it's a very, very time-consuming process, and it takes hours and hours and hours. But from what I'm hearing from you here is that editing process is so integral to how you go about putting those polishing sort of touches on. And like you said, the hours of research that you've done, the courses you've done, the studying you've done of other creators and how these platforms sort of work, it seems those small sort of intricacies are the little X factor that helps everything really perform. Is specifically the editing component of things, do you think it's something that can be outsourced, at least to an extent, for creators, especially on short format social media platforms? Or is that something that in your perspective is very integral to how everything really comes together?
That's a tough one for me, because I see the potential of doing everything in community. I know the importance of community and doing it with a team, and I would love to work with a team, and that's something I would really like. But I've also seen the consequences of that. So I've tried sourcing things out before, and I've gotten editors and they're just not passionate like the way I am about my work, and they just don't do a job, or they're going to go hang out with their friends now, so they can't finish my edit. And then I was like, can you send me the file? And they forget to send me the file. So now the video should be up. I don't have the edits on their computer, and they like an hour away from where I live, and I have to just redo the whole video. Like that was the one scenario was, we were busy editing. I was on a phone call. I was watching him edit like on Discord or something. And then he had to rush out to go to like some friend's party or hang out with some friends. And I was like, okay, but we're working. Can we push that a little bit later or whatever? And then like, nah, I already committed, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, fine, send me the edit so I can finish editing it on my side. And he was like, yeah, we'll do. I just got to go. So he cancels the call. He doesn't send me the edit. I was like, this needs to go up tomorrow. And like, we're not even 50% done. And I was like, I just took on the whole project by myself. I just remembered everything we edited, and I just started from scratch and redid everything. I was like, I can't trust someone that's not passionate about this work. Like, and knowing that people aren't passionate the way I am, I think that puts a strain on me, and that does affect me from not growing, because I know that is one of the reasons why I'm not growing. Because I'm also at the point where I'm too big to do everything myself, and I'm also need to rely on other people. And specifically in South Africa, I can't do that. Like everyone, I've had too many people backstab me, steal money from me, laziness, not do the work they're told to do in the span they have to do it in, and yeah, like hectic things happen to me. Like, but when I went to America, like everybody just wants to work and have goals met and achieve things, and I just haven't found that in South Africa, and it's so hard to do that when it's always on phone calls and things like that. Personally, I would love to learn more about it. I would love to have a team and grow as a team, but I just haven't found someone that's passionate about my work and is willing to put in the amount of time into a video, because most of the guys that I bring on want to be creators themselves, so they like not necessarily stealing knowledge. I'll always give knowledge out freely. If you ask me any question, I'll answer the question and won't hold anything back, but they like trying to just learn from me so they can be creators and not necessarily want to be my editor. They want to be their own creator. I was like, you're welcome to do that, but you're cutting in on my time that I'm paying you to work with me, and it's affecting your workload because now you focus on your career and your business and you're not focusing on my edit. So you could focus on that in your time, but right now we need to focus on my video, and I can see that edit is you're not putting in any effort what we spoke about. And I found that with everyone. So it's like I haven't found someone that hasn't done that yet.
I think Alex Hormozy, I like quoting him, sums it up quite nicely in that people are either learning or they're earning.
Yeah.
So what, especially in a South African context, which I'm glad that you raised, it's I think people are still coming to terms with the fact that being a sort of social media content creator is a job. It's a full-time job, and you got to treat it as seriously as any other sort of profession. So although there's so much fun and excitement and a lot of other factors which make it very like a dangling carrot sort of endeavor, it's still a very sort of draining and time-consuming sort of process that you really have to perfect and treat like a professional. And there's so much time that goes into that, and finding the right sort of team in a South African context, I think, like you said, is a tricky thing. But it's what I'm inspired by is that looking at places like the US and other parts of Europe, where I'm going to say they're a couple of years ahead of us in terms of their mindsets about how the creative industry sort of works in a social media sense, is that's kind of a beacon of where things will eventually get to. So although it might be a bit frustrating now to deal with the intricacies of building up a team in a South African context, I think it's exciting knowing that it eventually will go there. It's just about, I think, or you in particular, have to kind of be the leaders in the South African sort of community to actually establish that sort of level of commitment and focus and passion and professionalism.
That's really good. I like that.
Yeah.
No, that's good.
Obviously you've got millions and millions of views across so many different videos. Is that largely centered in the US, or do you have quite a strong South African base as well? Because you make content that's very, very generic, and I think is globally sort of recognizable.
Funny enough, from a young age, at the age of like literally 14, 15, I already picked up that South Africa they don't care about us. Like, they don't care. I saw how people don't get jobs here. My friends like have scholarships. They have years of work behind them, and they can't get a job because of like skin color. And like, as hectic as that sounds, that's literally how bad it was. I had someone that was an engineer for 5-6 years, and they weren't even allowed to like be a waiter. Like, that's how bad it is. So they had to, even schools wouldn't take them and things like that. So I saw how terrible South Africa was towards people trying to build a business and trying to just make a normal income. Like, it doesn't matter how smart you are, wise you are. In South Africa, it's literally skin color played a massive role. And I picked up on that pretty quickly. And literally, my siblings don't even live here anymore because they had to move out the country because my brother studied for like 4 or 5 years, and he couldn't even be a waiter as well. And like, so he managed to get a job in Malta, and my older sister, because And I think that also makes us unique as South Africans because we have to adapt. Most South Africans are normally building their own business or leaving the country, like most of them. Most of them don't really have 9 to 5s. Like you'll see, everyone's an entrepreneur here. So I think that's something good that pushed me, knowing that like I need to make this work. So what I did was I knew that I was never going to grow as a South African creator, or grow as a creator if I made South African humor. So what I did, I was like, I'm not going to do anything related to South Africa. Not going to do their jokes, not going to do their humor, not going to do their music, not going to do the way they film. I'm going to make myself look American. So I made my bedroom look American. I made my jokes American. I made everything about me American, because I knew that's where I would actually make money. No one wants to work with like some white kid in South Africa. And as I literally had management tell me that, like I got management when I had so many managements. I think I had like over 20 different managements. But anyway, lots of them told me, these guys don't want to work with you because of your color. And I was like, really? And they're like, yep. Like we needed to go for American businesses. South Africa does not want to work with you. So I was like, wow. So I also pushed that really hard to make myself always look American, make myself do well in America, American jokes. So my audience, it was all based in America. I think maybe up to 60% is American, and then it's like United Kingdom, Europe, India is quite big on YouTube, but most of the stuff is like European, UK, and America on all my platforms.
Okay, no, that's amazing how you've kind of, like you said, Americanized your sort of audience, because you know that's where it will resonate, and that's the sort of demographic that you're looking to engage with a lot more. But I think there are still a lot of people in South Africa that will know you and sort of recognize you here and there. Is that something that happens quite regularly, or is it a bit on the down low?
It was a lot. I think lots of people do recognize me. I actually had people, this is funny, people said they recognize me, but they thought I'm American, so they didn't believe it was me. So like I get that a lot as well when they do, when they are brave enough to come say hi. So I encourage you guys to say hi if you do recognize me. But I do, every time I walk past a group of people, I will hear, oh, is that a TikToker? That's a TikToker. No, it's not like that guy's in America. Like, is that him?
Is that something that you like and enjoy, or is it a bit overwhelming sometimes going somewhere now, having this kind of online presence that has blown up, and is it sort of intimidating now just going and doing everyday things and being a little bit kind of intruded on, if that's the right way of phrasing?
I think there's both. So I don't enjoy it in the way of like I'm consumed by it and like it energizes me or anything like that. I enjoy it because it's like I made an impact on someone's life and I brought joy to them, and they remember that, and then they see me and they just want to be like, hey, I love your videos. And that's so like that impacts me, knowing that, oh wow, like this guy really enjoyed my videos and he took the time out to watch my videos, and then he took the courage to come up to me and tell me that. So that is like really awesome when that happens, but not necessarily a burden. There is times where like I just don't want anyone to recognize me, and then when I try and hide myself, that's when I get recognized more, funny enough. But it did die down. There was a time where I couldn't leave my house without being recognized, especially with my other friend Liam Stoffberg. When me and him are together, everybody knows who we are. But like when we separate, like people know who we are. But when we're together, then yeah.
Put two and two together. Like,
Exactly.
I've definitely seen one of those two together. At
Exactly,
some point.
and because then we're together, that's definitely them. So I think we would used to get like, we would go to Waterfront or we would go to like a mall or something. We would probably get at least 20 to 30 people coming up to us, like in a span of like 30-40 minutes. Like we would like go film something, and on the way we'll have people walking up to us while we're filming, hey, can we take photos and things like that. So I did enjoy it, but there was also a time where I was like, I want to film and things like that, but it was never a burden to me. I did enjoy it, but I also didn't get to Justin Bieber's level, where
I think then life becomes very different, because then you're just fighting doing daily activities. So.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, getting a taste of that, and I think, like you said, expressing that sort of gratitude towards everyone that's engaging in the content is such a nice attitude to sort of have. Have you ever had to deal with the flip side of that, particularly on the online sense, where people can kind of hide behind a screen? Is there any sort of hate or negative commentary that you've had to deal with?
That's an interesting one. Yes and no. I dealt with quite a bit of jealousy from creators being jealous. That like it's the same thing I told you. Like people mustn't be consumed on how someone else's success. So like I was getting a lot of success, and creators would think it's an overnight success, and I'm copying this guy and copying that guy, and I was like, show me where I'm not copying this guy at all. Like I probably use the same sound as him, but there's a different joke and different shots. And anyways, they'll just have like this thing towards me, and they literally told me actually friends with like quite good friends with most of them now. They're like, we thought you this like arrogant guy and like has all these followers, but you're actually just down to earth and chilled, and things like that. So dealing with people that haven't met me, there's jealousy. I've noticed in some creators, South African Americans they just want to help each other and grow. From my experience, haven't been there a long time, but when I was there, and South Africa is there's this weird jealousy that goes on. And then when it comes to my own followers, it was cool because I like had followers that just loved me, and then like the guys that hated me, and then my followers would back me up, so I didn't have to do much. But then also understanding who I am and like understanding my identity in Christ, also had a good foundation to lean on. So I was like, no matter what anyone says, I know that like I'm a child of God. Like he loves me and he cares for me, and I'm unique. I don't have to rely on what this person is saying to determine my worth. Because it's so easy to do that. You'll read 1,000 good comments and one bad comment, and then your whole day is changed. So I'm glad
the negative moments kind of like stand out a lot more.
Exactly.
Which is a weird sort of psychological thing that we're stuck with as humans.
Exactly. I don't know why we meditate on the negative. I hate it, but we need to program our mind to focus on the positive. So keeping that mindset is probably the most crucial for me. And yeah, I think that played a big impact, but I didn't have too much hate. As I've seen other creators have hectic hate. But mine wasn't too hectic. I generally had people motivating me, and like, okay, for every 20 to 30 good comments, I get one bad comment. So it wasn't like hectic bad comments. But yeah, so I can't say I suffered as bad as other creators have suffered from their hate comments and death threats and things like that.
Death threats?
Yeah, I've heard of other creators getting things and, cancelled and all that culture. And I have friends that have been getting those things.
Are you... Because especially in the comedy niche, it's a very fine line between writing what's edgy and getting people sort of engaged with it and kind of crossing lines. Are you worried about getting cancelled?
It's a funny question because I thought about it and I was like, what happens if I get cancelled? And I was like, well, first of all, I'm not going to do anything stupid. So I question everything I upload. So I also have some friends that I show first. I'll be like, whenever I do something that's questionable, I check with them. I'll be like, hey, is this going to be something that will push the video and get some conversations going? Or is this going to be like too far? Is this like over the edge far? And then I'll kind of get like some guidance from them, like if I'm pushing it too over the ledge or not. But I'm not fear of being cancelled the same way the Americans see cancel, because I don't determine of what other people's opinions determine how I live my life, because I've seen how people get cancelled and it destroys their whole life and their reputation and
becomes
everything.
their identity, which is absurd.
Exactly. So I was like, no matter if I make a mistake, who hasn't made a mistake? You guys just remember, when I make a mistake, 8 million people are watching. When you make a mistake, it's your mom and dad or your friends around you. So like, we have to be you probably even know, like, we have to watch everything we say also as creators, especially like when you get bigger numbers, like wherever you are, whatever who surrounds you, you just can't make jokes that you can if you like not a celebrity. Like my friends will make jokes and like, the boys, they make naughty jokes, and like I was like, I can't say those jokes. Like I can't even build the habit of saying it inside my circle with you because it might slip out. So like you need to watch what you say the whole time. You need to watch your mouth and things like that, because it is easy to be cancelled. I'm not trying to get cancelled, but I need to be aware of what I'm saying, but I don't fear of being cancelled because that won't be my identity. I know I made mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. Mine just would be on a higher level because more people see that my mistake.
And you have that responsibility for everyone sort of watching to kind of think for them a little bit and understand kind of how it will be perceived. But that's such a nice way of phrasing it, that you kind of have that self-filter that everything sort of goes through. And if it goes through your internal sort of moral filter sort of thing, then it's very, very unlikely that it can really sort of spill over anywhere else. I feel like the news has been threatening it for absolutely years, but especially because you're so sort of US centric to all the content that you make, the constant TikTok ban horizon that's constantly sort of looming. How do you feel about that? And are you worried about something like that impacting how you create content?
That's funny because it's funny because I'm so confident again in my relationship with God that when I hear these things happening, like it doesn't matter if all my social media gets deleted tomorrow. Like I know that I can always adapt. I can adapt to my surroundings. I will always learn. I'm quick at learning. I can always learn a new skill very quickly, and have the right community around me, and I can lean on them in tough times. So when it comes to like losing these platforms and losing my followers, like I basically lost access to my 1.3 million YouTube subscribers. I can't post on it. That's how bad the demonetization was. So I was like, I basically lost everything I worked for over like from the age of 13 to the age of 21. That all disappeared in a flick. Just because I don't even know, just got a notice you've been demonetized, no reason given, and they demonetized me. And I was like, wow.
No reason given.
No reason given, no clarification on anything, no strikes, no warnings. They just say we demonetize you, and they cut me, and they cut off my videos from performing. And my retention, I averaged a retention on my shorts, averaged 110% retention. I averaged that.
That's crazy because I mean 110% retention means that everyone is watching a video more than one time. So there are people that are just sitting there absolutely loving it. So that retention rate is crazy. Like for it to be above 100% is you've really nailed the formula there.
Exactly. And that's what made me upset because that's how bad it was when they demonetized me. I was showing my management at the time. I was like, look at my stats. These videos should all be blown up. A bad video for me is under 85% retention rate. That's a bad video for me. That's how good I got at creating videos that could keep people watching for and want to rewatch it. I just knew the art of creating. And I was like, look at my stats. They're like, this doesn't make any sense. These videos should be blown up. And then when it does blow up, they're like, oh, it's fixed. I was like, no, this is blown up in like countries that YouTube doesn't care about. So it's like, it'll blow up in, say, countries that aren't monetized, because YouTube, it's like where your audience is that determines your click-through, not your click-through rate, how much money they make. If you have a USA audience or if you have
your CPM according to
exactly.
So demographics.
Not everybody knows. Creators know that if you have an Indian audience and an American audience, if you get the same amount of views, you'll get more money if you have an American audience because they spend more money. But if you have an Indian audience, the revenue isn't as big because they don't spend as much as Americans do. So you don't make as much money. And then I noticed whenever a video did blow up, after they demonetized me, they will always make me blow up in some random country and then destroy my my audience stats. So when I went to companies, they were like, you have too big audience in India or too much of a big audience in the Philippines, so we can't work with you. And things like that. And I was like, I can't even post on this platform anymore because it's destroying the people I'm trying to reach and the comedy I am aiming at for and things like that. So that was a massive fear that came over me, knowing that things can disappear like this. 8 years of work disappeared in one email. So being confident and knowing that I can always adapt is awesome. And knowing like this TikTok ban that's always been going on, I don't even have my identity isn't in my social media. It's in my relationship with my father. So no matter what comes my way, I can always adapt and change. And that's literally what's happening now on TikTok. TikTok is pushed to more long form content, and they're changing algorithms, and they're doing this that I don't even put effort into TikTok anymore because the algorithm changes too much. The same video that blows up on all my platforms doesn't blow up on TikTok. So it's like clearly they're pushing some new genre or I don't know what they're even pushing at the moment because they change it so often that I'm not starting TikTok at the moment. So I'm not feared of losing my TikTok account again, because 8 million followers don't mean anything if you can't contact them and have a connection with those following. So that's what I'm trying to build now. I'm trying to get that core audience, trying to find a way where I can get a hold of them, build an email list or a Discord or something where I can actually talk to the people that want to like do life with me and want to enjoy my content. and things like that. So I'm trying to and looking into it on how to make that more impactful. So that's what my focus is at the moment, but not necessarily scared of losing my TikTok account or anything like that, because I know I can always adapt.
I think one thing you've also got tremendously in your favor is that because you've had, I'm going to call it a career because that's what it is. You've had years of building up the skills of what it takes to create content that resonates with people. So that regardless of which sort of medium and which platform you're really engaging on, you have the skill set to be able to adapt and figure out how to do that within that sort of medium. So like you said, even if one disappears sort of overnight, it's obviously terrible, and it's quite it's got financial consequences as well on certain platforms. But when the next platform comes up, or if there's a shift towards a different type of content, you've already got the advantage there of knowing exactly how to do it. So when the next thing comes up, it's just about kind of not rinse and repeat, but just executing your skill set and then letting the rest sort of take care of itself. But I like how you said it's important to sort of protect that core community outside of the social media platform, so that you kind of have control over that sort of relationship with people. You mentioned you're putting in small steps to kind of do that. How you, I think what most creators I think tend to do is build up sort of an email or newsletter sort of list. Is that something that you're aiming to do as well?
Yeah, I'm trying to do it, but it is so complicated because it is a whole different type of field to content creating. It's so complicated. I've tried so many times, and it's just people, because I basically need to hire someone to do it for me. That's how complicated it is. I've tried doing it by myself. It's not easy. Everybody's like, no, I just need to do this, this, and this. I was like, yeah, but that takes a lot of time to learn that and then do it. And I need to make videos so I can actually have food on my table, you know? So it is a little bit complicated in that sense to build that. So I'm trying to build that, and I'm luckily with a new agency that I met in America who's been absolutely working wonders for me. The first agency that actually is doing their job, actually, after I've worked with tons of management, tons of agencies. This is the first agency that's actually brought me an income. I've done all my own income. I've been a part of these guys, but it's my email that got the business, and it was me negotiating and things like that. So it's really cool to be working with them, and they said we can work towards that this year. So I just started working with them in like just before January. I think it was like December or November. So I'm just building a foundation with them, building connections, trying to get a source of income. And then when I can rely on that source of income, because I lost my source of income, which was YouTube. I could depend on an income coming from that every month. But now, because I was cut, I was just on savings, and I wasn't making business deals as much, and everything like went downhill for me. So having this new team and working together to like build a source of income for me that I can lean on a little bit, and then I can start sourcing out how to build a email list. That's what I started with Tatiana Group. So I'm happy with that. That is like 700 members. I would love to talk to them. Sadly, I'm the only one that can chat on the thing. Which is probably a good thing, but it would be cool to connect with them like on a Discord and stuff. But understanding how Discord works, I'm building my own Discord and then being consistent on it and all that stuff. Like that's where you need a team.
Yeah, because there's so much time that has to go into that, and there's only you can't chat to every single person. You can't chat to 8 million people every day. It's impossible. But I think understanding how to still maintain the value add that you got to give to people outside of the general content that you give them is such a difficult arc for creators to kind of go through. You mentioned obviously different agencies and stuff that you're working with and how challenging that process has been. Specifically in a South African context, for creators who might not necessarily be at the scale of having an agency being willing to sort of represent them and stuff, do you have any advice about how you'd go about structuring, presenting yourself as a creator to work with brands, particularly as a South African looking to work with sort of international brands?
Yeah, that is a tough one, because that's the one thing I struggled with the most, because it is an art to deal with brands, and it's an art to deal with your social skills and your writing skills, which I did not have. Actually thankful for ChatGPT, because that helped me with a lot of emails. But even before ChatGPT was a thing, I had to do it all myself, and I had to go to my dad, and like, because my dad's an author as well, missionary and author, and I was like, can you please double check this, because I'm dyslexic. So like, you were like, okay, let me delete all of this and then help you with it. So I was really bad at doing those kind of things, and every time I DM someone or emailed them, no one wanted to work with me at all, ever. the only way I made business is when they messaged me, and then we negotiated something and I got a payment, or like I was depending on monetization. But now that I've matured a little bit, it's always room for more improvement and maturity. But knowing now, I think it's important to know what kind of content you are creating, first of all. Know what audience you're trying to reach. Know who your avatar is representing. Are you a fitness industry? Are you in the cooking? Are you comedy? Whatever. Comedy is the hardest. If you have an industry like fitness or cooking, you go straight to a cooking company and be like, hey, check out my followers. I would love to use your equipment or your baking ingredients. It will be easy for me to implement. And there's a lot of money in having a niche. Like if you're fitness, it's very easy to make money. But comedy, like, it's hard for a fitness company to come to you and be like, hey, can you promote our fitness shoe or our fitness clothing when you're making funny videos, when they could rather just go to a
I think that's probably the one downside of the sort of comedy niche, because in my opinion, it's probably one of the not easiest, but broadest niches to actually get your content to people, because it's kind of applicable to everyone. Yeah. But because of that, the flip side is it's almost impossible to advertise to anyone because you're targeting everyone, and it's not specific to those types of people. So getting companies to engage with you, to present saying, look, I've got this value add where I can tell the story to people and I can showcase your brand story as well in doing this. But if they can't see who that brand story is being told to, it's very, very difficult.
Yeah. And that is the toughest part. So if you know who your niche is, it's very easy. And it's easy to adapt to how to email these companies that you want to work with. And they most likely want to work with you if you can get them with a good email, show them like your audience, show them that your audience is interested in the product. It's easy to sell to them. Your audience is at a certain age, and it's actually very easy to get business that way. But as a comedian, it's tough, as you said. Like I'm reaching millions of people, like my audience is the world, and I can't necessarily niche down. But the other thing is what companies don't realize. So they know we comedy, so they kind of stay away from us because they're like, we're trying to sell running shoes, we're trying to sell baking stuff. We're not going to go to a comedian to do that. We'll just go to a creator that is already doing specifically just that. But what they don't realize is we also have a skill that we've created. They don't know, the companies don't know that. Basically, I'm going to use me for instance. My friends are like this as well. But I built up the skill on how to get an audience to see the video. What audience needs to see the video is the audience I will get to see the video. Because remember, we target the For You page. We don't target your followers. So if I want new followers, I know how to target them. So companies don't realize most of the time is that give me your idea, give me what you want me to sell. And if you give me enough time, I can get you buyers. But if you just want eyes, I can easily do that for you as well. I can make the video in the correct way to get the correct audience to watch it, because I know how to adapt. So it's like if they need me to do a clothing brand, a shoe brand, a cooking brand, a drink brand, I was like, I can adapt really quickly and I can get eyes onto your account. I can get followers. I can even get people to buy your stuff. But they don't want to put that trust in me. And that's, I think, lots of, specifically South Africa. America is a complete different story. So, but South Africa, I found that they're also very old here in the sense of the old way. They're going to stick to the old way. They don't trust these creators. I actually tell you a funny story. I was trying to make an ad to enter a competition. It was one of my mentors that taught me, like back in the day, my dad organized someone to mentor me how to record videos. It was more YouTube videos, so it was landscape, nothing to do with TikTok at the time. So I was around like 12. And he taught me how to edit. So I used Final Cut Pro because that's what he taught me on.
Baller as a 12-year-old. That's impressive.
Yeah, I didn't have access to it, so I used to pirate it. But
no, you didn't.
No, I did not pirate it at all. Okay, don't pirate things, kids. But then, so I was taught on that. I learned from it, and then, anyways, he hit me up much later when I was doing well, and he was like, "Hey," because he is in the film industry. And he was like, "Hey, we're making a new, what's it called now? Not a challenge, a competition. They were doing a competition on how to make an advert for any company you want to on your phone." So he's like, "Do you want to enter?" I was like, "I would love to do an advert for Lamborghini. I love cars, and I'm only gonna do it if I can get a Lamborghini. I'm not gonna do it if I get another car maybe, but I'm gonna focus on Lamborghini, and I'm gonna try and get a Lamborghini and maybe do an ad for them or something. So this was the time when I was like peaking. I was at like 6 million followers. Like my numbers were rapidly growing the whole time. And I started reaching out to all these companies. I was like, hey, we have these many followers. We can get eyes on your content. We can grow your social medias, whatever you want. I just want to borrow a car for 3-4 hours, film it, and yeah, you can even have someone drive it. We just need to film it and borrow it and things like that. And every single company I reached out to said, no, you can pay us to borrow our car and then pay us to film our car. And they were wanting me to pay them to use their car for me to promote. And literally, no one wanted to work with me. Not a single car company wanted to work with me. And I was giving away advertisement that could cost up to $20,000 of worth of advertising that I was giving free to them. So if they were in America, that's how much worth, like I did the math on how much worth of advertising I would be giving.
Is there a formula that goes into determining that, or is it just based on sort of American standards?
It's based on American standards. So it's kind of like the amount of views I would be giving to them, the amount of eyes that I can get onto their websites, on their profiles, and the determine of how much it would cost for that outside of me. So if they wanted like an ad, or if they wanted like a billboard put up and things like that, I would get them more views and more eyes on that kind of stuff than they could ever imagine. So with all that determined, I was like, this is a lot of, like, I even spoke to management afterwards when I told them the story, and they're like, the amount of views you could guarantee, I could guarantee millions of views to these guys. Like I could guarantee a video getting 1 million views. That's how crazy and understanding I was at the time of the platform. I was like, I can guarantee 1 million views on any video you want. That's how high it was. And then anyways, no one wanted to work with me. And so I started reaching out to these car guys that did like proms. What's it called here in South Africa?
Dances and
dances, proms, school dances and things like that.
Matric farewells, I guess.
Yeah, matric farewells and all those things. And they would have Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and give these to the kids to like drive up and then walk in, you know. So I was like, let me start hitting them up. Also, one of my girlfriends, girls that are friends, they were working with like a BMW and one of these agencies. So I was like, yeah, let me hit them up. I see they have a Lamborghini on one of their platforms. They have multiple things. So they normally have a friend that has the car, and then they just borrow the car from their friend, and then we pay the friend or whatever. So that's how it works. It's not necessarily like an agency like Ford or Lamborghini or Ferrari. And then anyways, I started hitting a lot of them up, and then the one guy responded. I was like, hey, listen, we can grow your platform, we can get you views. I just want to borrow your Lamborghini, please. I'm not going to pay, like I don't want to pay for it. I want you to be able to supply me the Lamborghini, and we'll just promote it. And we'll make you the ad as well. And I'm just sending it into a competition, so your name will be on it. Is that fine? They're like, yeah, I'd love that. So anyways, they managed to organize me a Lamborghini Huracan Spider. So I was like, that was the first time I ever sat in a Lamborghini. Like, because my favorite car is a Lamborghini, and the first time I ever sat on it. So I was like, yeah, my friend was laughing because I couldn't. I just had a smile on my face the whole time. I was like this. I was like recording all the videos like this. I was like, you know, and I was so passionate about that project. And then, anyways, filmed on the project, filmed everything, filmed all the TikToks, filmed the YouTube video, filmed the ad, and had a bunch of other TikTok friends that were with me. So I was using my account and 2 other TikTok accounts as well. So I was like, hey, we got like all together, we have just under 10 million followers. We want to promote you. So anyways, I upload my video of just the TikTok I made, like of me using their thing. And I put in the comments, go follow their account. And my TikTok got 12 million views in less than 24 hours. And me and my friends together combined, we made their TikTok account grow up to 20,000 followers in less than like 2 days.
Just from basically a single video.
Just
instantly boom, brand presence for them.
Exactly. And I was like, Like we just gained them all those followers, all those things, and people would pay up to $20,000 to $50,000 for that in America if I offered it.
I mean, obviously it's then up to the brand about whether they actually utilize that or
Yeah.
not, and how they manage that. But I mean, understanding the value that creators are potentially unlocking for them, I think is something, especially South African brands, like you said, is something that's hopefully going to improve sort of going forward.
Definitely. I have hopes for South African, but I also know where it's like, I always see the positive things. I try and see the good in everything, but I also see like the people that you do work with. Yeah, like my management's trying to work with some South African deals, and it's a nightmare. Like they don't even know their own contracts. That's how bad it is. We're like, all right, why is this in the contract? It's nothing to do with what John-Marc has to do. I don't know. Okay, well, can you take it out? I don't know. That's literally what they deal with. So it's like it's tough, but I think there is hope. I think especially with all of us being entrepreneurs here, I think there's going to be a change and a shift, and also hopefully a change in everything. You know.
What specifically to brands, whether American or South African, but the person who's the decision maker for the brand who's deciding, okay, we've got campaigns and stuff, and we think, you know, presenting it through potentially short format content is the way to go about doing this, and we want to work with some sort of influencers, so to speak, to do that. What advice would you have for the actual brands in terms of reaching out to creators and getting the best out of them for their products?
I think if I was talking to brands, the thing I would tell them is like, trust your creators. Lots of the times they know what they're doing. Again, like you should know your creators as well. Talk to them, spend time with them, and see what they're willing to do and how passionate they are about the product, and how they would push it. Because lots of the times they just put what they think will do well on us creators. And I'll tell my management, I was like, the company working with me, do they want me to get them lots of views and they want lots of business, or do they just want me to follow a script? And they'll be like, we'll find out. They want you to follow a script. So I follow the script. I was like, this video's not going to do well. I'm just warning you, like the views aren't going to do well. The numbers aren't going to do well. The business is not going to happen, but I'll take the money. Like you don't want me to help you. That's fine with me. So I do it. The video flops and they don't want to work with me again. I was like, well, I know how to make the video do well. And sometimes that has happened. They're giving me a script for 2 videos. I make the one video scripted and everything. I upload it. I'll be like, I can make this way better. Like I'm going to make it way better on the next video. And I did make it way better for the second video. I didn't listen to their script. I put in my own ways on how to promote this product or song or whatever it was. And I was like, this is going to get way more views. And the first video got like 40,000 views or 50,000 views. And I was like, this is going to do way better. So I sent it in for the review and like for them to check it. And it was my posting time as well. So I was like, I need feedback. Like, they're like, we can't give you feedback yet, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to post this. I did it actually multiple times. I'm going to take a risk. I post it now because it is my posting time. Otherwise, you're going to have to wait 2 days before I can post again or whatever. So I posted in that time. My video got like 300,000-400,000 views by the time they replied. And they were like, sorry, we don't like this video. It's not going to do well. And then I just sent them screenshots. I was like, I've already posted it. It's gotten like it got 400,000, 500,000 views. It stopped at, and their idea got like 40,000. So I was like, here's the proof. They didn't want to work with me again, but it just shows like we know what can do well. We know how to get the audience you need for that product, and trust the creators. There's some creators that are just BS. That is true. They're there for money. They're there for fame. They don't care about your product. So you can see it generally if they're passionate about your product. And there's companies that work with me that I'm not passionate about, but I need to put food on the table. So I put passion into it and I try and make it do well and I try to give it my best. But there's other companies that I'm like, I'll do it for free. Like, I just want to work with you. Like, I would love to have one of your products or something like that. And then wanting to work with those creators, I think, would change the game for them. Because I think that's what lots of companies are lacking on right now at the moment is not having a face for their company. And I think if you have a face for your company, a social media star that knows how to work with social media, knows how to work with fans and make people love them, a product will do well. So same with, if you look at any product, we all love Ryan Reynolds because of his face. So if he sells something, we're going to buy it. But now companies don't have faces. It's Coke, it's Forward, it's this, it's that. They don't have a face. No one, people buy it, but there's no relationship in that. But if I want to go buy whatever Ryan Reynolds is selling,
He's got what, aviation gin or?
yeah, that gin
I
thing.
think that might be the other one. Anyway,
Yeah,
his gin
one,
thing.
one of them. He's selling like gin. I'll be like, I'm gonna buy it just because it's Ryan Reynolds. Like, I would love to taste it and things like that. Same with Clarkson from Top Gear. He has his own farm products and his own like beer that he's created. People are gonna buy that just because it's him. And I've had friends bought it and they said it tastes delicious, but like now they don't want to buy other stuff because they connected to Clarkson. Clarkson makes jokes that they relate to. They find him funny and relatable, and you look up to creators. You look up to your favorite movie stars. You look up to your favorite TV stars, and you feel a connection with them. And so obviously you want to buy their product. Same with Mr. Beast. If you see Mr. Beast bar and you see a Hershey bars, I'm all connected with Mr. Beast. I feel like I'm friends with him by watching his videos. I feel like I'm a part of his friend group. So of course I'm going to buy a Mr. Beast bar and support him than Hershey's.
Have you seen what Mr. Beast is doing with Amazon in the near future?
No.
So he's recently signed a deal with Amazon to basically produce a series of videos with a monstrous budget. And I'm so curious to see how this actually sort of plays out, seeing one of the big streaming services sort of, I think for the first time really, trust one of the like OG internet sort of creators to really execute on something at that sort of level in an industry which has been so dominated by a very traditionalist sort of viewpoint. And I'm very keen to see how that sort of plays out.
No, that's actually super exciting. Actually, I think that was Colin Samir that chatted to Mr. Beast about that. So I also heard about that, and that was actually something. I don't know if I want to give my idea out now. I'll tell you afterwards. But I would love to also work on things like that. Like I want to see, the thing with social media is you have to be consistent. Consistency can drain you very fastly, because like if you make a series, you put time and effort into your series, you upload your series. I'm going to take Top Gear for instance. Big fan of the OG Top Gear, like Jeremy, James and all of them. So they go out, they film, and then like they have 6 months that they don't have to work, not that I don't want to work, but like they make a series, they upload it, and we all wait for the next series. We wait for the next episode. We're not, where's the next one? You're supposed to post every week, because that's how everything else works.
Being an online creator is in a sense more difficult than that, because of the volume that you've got to put out and how regularly it has to be. And it's non-relenting. If it's Christmas time or New Year's or something like that, like you sometimes have to plan around that and still be delivering, even if you're feeling sick or not at your best, because kind of that's what it sort of requires to really get there in the end.
That's so true. And that puts so much pressure on us the whole time, because it's, you have to upload every week. Otherwise your audience loses interest, or they subscribe, or they don't want to be a part of you anymore. Like you and I can both speak about it. Like we know the impact it takes. If you upload a video now, it's probably not going to do as well as it would have when you had the consistency. And that is draining. And that's something I probably don't know if I can keep up for the rest of my life. So finding something like a series and building movies and TV shows and things like that, where it's like your presence is there, you're building something you're passionate about, you can put a lot of effort into it, you upload it, your audience loves it, and they're waiting for the next one. I'm waiting, like right now, me and my friends are waiting for the next Top Gear episode. I think they have 4 left, and we're constantly keeping updated, like, when's the next episode, what is it about? And like they haven't uploaded in like a couple of months, and we'll still be talking about it. I think their one upload was like nearly a year apart, and we will talk about it all the time. And we're just waiting for the next upload. But in social media, if you didn't upload a video in the last week, you are no longer relevant. Like that's a faster dip. So I'm passionate to grow into something like that and build something where like creators can make movies and create these shows where we're connected with our audience, and there's not this high demand anymore, but something that they can wait, and when they get it, it's something that's satisfying and impactful.
Traditional storytelling with the modern twist.
Exactly.
Okay. No, I really like that. For, I'm going to say maybe not millions, but at least thousands of people that are engaging with your content and have engaged with it in the past. I think a lot of them are aspiring creators as well. People who maybe not to the extent that you have, but they definitely want to be able to tell their own stories and stuff going forward. What would you sort of recommend to someone starting at flat bang zero, how to go about starting? How do you get moving, and how do you stay motivated to keep doing it?
I think the first question you need to ask yourself is, what are you trying to gain? Like, what are you doing it for? Because I can tell you, numbers and followers and money and all of that doesn't mean anything. Like, I've had everything, and at the end of the day, you always want more. You're always like, you think like, wow, if I hit 1 million followers, like I've made it. I hit 1 million, and I'm like, I still feel the same. And then you hit the next million, then I'll probably feel something. Hit the next million, like, oh, I don't have enough money, I need to make more money. Maybe if I hit this amount of money, I'll feel it. Now I make this much.
The benchmark constantly sort of shifts. When I'm going to use TikTok specifically because it's in the higher millions already. When you got to 10,000 versus 100,000 versus 1 million versus 8 million, did those steps feel the same level of like excitement about it, or did it kind of diminish, so to speak, as you sort of continue to grow? Were you constantly chasing more?
You're always constantly chasing more, but there is an excitement of growth. I love numbers. I'm a numbers guy. So like, I just love looking at numbers. Like I love seeing like plus 2,000. I don't even matter if it's just green, you know, because it's green and red. When they say like you've plus or minus followers, like when it's green, like it's just like I'm just happy. I'm like yeah, even if it's like minuscule. So I do enjoy numbers, but there was definitely an impact when I was growing. But then I also realized when I was growing really fast that numbers didn't mean anything because you're just growing so fast. Like when I got my 1 million subscriber plaque, it just happened so fast that I was excited that I got the 1 million plaque. I like dreamt of it as a kid.
That's every YouTuber's dream, is getting that golden.
Exactly.
What was that experience like, please, for someone who's not there? What was it like? How did you receive it? I don't know if YouTube has any disclosure agreements that they have for that, but what was it like?
It was exciting, but also like.
Does it just arrive in the mail?
So no. So what happens is you hit the target, and then you have like a link that you get sent, or it should be in your settings, and you can apply that. You prove that you've hit the milli, or you hit your 100,000 or 10 million, whatever the plaque is, and then you apply like, hey, I've reached the threshold. I've reached the 1 million followers or 100,000 followers. I would like to get the plaque, and then they just ask for your shipping address and everything, and then they ship it out.
Do you have to pay customs?
No, likely. They sort everything out for you. So that was super nice. But like when I received it, it just happened so fast because shorts happened, and I put a lot of effort into shorts, and I was gaining 100,000 subscribers, I think, every 2-3 weeks. So it was like I was at 10,000 subscribers, and then I was at 1 million in less than like half a year. So it was very rapidly. And then when I got it, I was like, it's just a trophy. Like
it's kind of, I guess, I'm on to speak here, but I guess it's kind of just a small mark acknowledging what you've been doing, but the real reward is kind of doing it day in, day out and growing from that. And it's just kind of someone saying, yes, we can see what you've been doing, but It's not like the thing that you're chasing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what hit me, because I was like, why am I not excited about this? Like, why is it it's just an object? But I think that also came to understanding my identity again. It was like, my identity isn't wrapped up with how many followers I have. My identity isn't wrapped up if I have a gold plaque, or if I have a silver plaque, or I have the diamond plaque. My identity is knowing who I am and like the core that I have, and to impact people around me and change those lives. So as long as I'm doing that, I'm confident. So when I received it, it wasn't like, like my identity is in this plaque. It was like, this is a really cool trophy, and I'm excited that I received it. I've wanted it as a kid, but it's on my shelf. Like, what am I supposed to do with it? I can't do anything. I must just carry on with what I'm doing, what I'm passionate about, what I feel called to do. And so it wasn't necessarily excitement, like a game changer for me. I was like, all right, how do I adapt and carry on? So it's different, because there's different stories on how people receive it, but yeah, it's kind of mine.
John-Marc, I can't think of a way to sort of end that. I thank you for kind of sharing the immense knowledge that you have about your creative process, how you've gone about it, and how expressing how much of a calling it's been to you. I think it's very inspiring for me to see, and it's definitely, I think, something that hopefully people are going to get value watching and understanding the sort of level of commitment that you have to sort of your craft, and how seriously you take it, and also how excited it seems to make you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed this time, and seen all these lighting and stuff, which I'm trying to understand better. So chat to you about this afterwards. But thank you so much for having me on the podcast, and excited to see what comes of your podcast. I would love to see who you get on, how it grows, and maybe chat a little bit more in the future and help each other out and things like that. So
I'm excited too. I think I'm gonna need to speak to someone about like a music outro or something, because for now it's just kind of gonna fade to black kind of thing. But no, thanks for joining, and excited as well.